When you install Estimate Master on your Mac initially, there's really nothing there. It's an empty database. So let's talk about how the program is organized. First of all, I'm going to bring in a sample database, which is just there to help you understand how the program works. It's not intended for something you can use, but it's useful for playing around with the program before you enter your own data. So I'm going to bring in a sample database. Okay, so now we have a database. Going to the screens, there are 6 screens, mainly 6 screens. There's actually more than 6, but 6 tabs. We'll start with the Estimate tab. On the lower left are customers. Estimates cannot exist unless there's a customer. So when you create an estimate, you have to create the customer or have the customer already existing in your customer list. And you see I click on the customer, and to the immediate right is the estimate projects for that customer. On the top half of the screen are the individual items in that estimate. So when I click on different estimate projects on the lower right, I see the projects detail on the top. Okay, let's look at the customer tab. Very top left is the name of the customer, and then there's a box below that which is the main contact information. Below that is an alternate contact information, and you can switch between the two here. And whenever you switch it, this is the information that appears in the estimate reports. And you can declare a customer as being active or inactive. If you declare it as inactive, then it doesn't show up in any of the screens if you select Show Active Customers Only. Okay, Parts and Material tab. The big square on the left is line items, or items of materials and parts organized around unit types in the upper right. So, and the price per unit. If it's an individual item without any length or other attributes, it's just the price per unit. And this is generally before markup, although you can add markup if you want, but generally that price per is before markup. Lower right of both of the parts and labor screens is assemblies. Each assembly is this conglomeration of parts and materials. So you can add an assembly with just one click by clicking on the right arrow in the line item name for the assembly. And that whole assembly goes into the estimate with one click. So it's a time saver. Here's the labor screen. The big square is labor tasks, and each task is assigned an hour or a fraction of hour to do that task at a rate, and the rate is taken from the small grid up on upper right. On the same lower right are the same set of assemblies you saw in the parts and materials, exactly the same assemblies. There's two, it's shown twice because when you add to an assembly, you want to add from the parts and materials list, or you want to add from the labor list. On the Preferences tab, there's a few different things. On the left side of the screen, upper left, is taxes. If you work in different locales or different tax rates, this is where you assign your taxes on a per estimate basis, and the markup, you can add different markups for different customers. So for a given estimate, you assign the appropriate markup value to the estimate by clicking Assign button, just like taxes. So there's more video on the taxes and markups, but each estimate is assigned different taxes from the Preferences screen, the same with markup. Also on the on the right side of the screen on Preferences, there's a database block. There's a button that says empty the database. This deletes all the data from the database, so I'll do that carefully. And there is a sync with iCloud button. Now this is a feature that allows you to share your database between multiple users of Estimate Master in your organization. Really, everybody on their Mac, or it actually works with Estimate Master for iPad as well. They need to have their device, whether it's a Mac or iPad, logged into the same iCloud account. And when you do that, there's one more copy of the database. In other words, each copy of Estimate Master has a database, but when you sync with iCloud, there's another copy in the iCloud, the Apple iCloud, and so when you sync with it, every record in the database, or every line item, in other words, has a hidden timestamp and a hidden identifier, so that when you sync, newer records overwrite older records, and unique records are inserted. So as you all use the sync with iCloud, everybody ends up working with the same database, and you don't need to use this. You don't need Estimate Master does not require the internet when you're normally making estimates. But when let's say you go somewhere with an iPad or a laptop and you want to create an estimate, you can do that, no internet required. But later, when you get to a point where you have internet access, do the sync, and then your changes will be copied to the cloud, and then anybody else in your organization can also do a sync, and then your changes will be synced with their changes. So if you have something newer, or new estimates, new items, it'll be added to their database. So that's a great feature. No extra cost for that. Backup. You can back up your database to an email address. Actually, it's the My Company email address. Anytime you like, just by touching or clicking on backup to email. To restore it, you just how to restore it is explained in the email itself, and you do it. So it's a great way to protect yourself and archive different versions, if you like, of your database. And then there's the My Company tab. Top half of the screen, or top third anyway, is information about your company, the name of your company, and contact name, and address, telephone, fax, email, web address, all that's there. This information goes into your estimate reports that you send to the customer, print to the customer. There's also on the lower right, there are some names for estimators, people who do the estimating. So when you have an estimate, you click on the estimate, go to My Company, then you click on an estimator. You're assigning that estimator person to that estimate, and it appears on this screen, and also it appears in the estimate report. There's a couple buttons that say email or print estimate summary. The summary shows the summary of the estimate financially. If you email it, it goes to your email address. It shows you profit based on your markup and the costs, taxes, etc. All the details about the estimate without the whole estimate appearing. You can print it or you can email it. The lower left is a template display. This is not all the template information, but it's just the terms part of the template. You can have multiple templates. Each template can have different text for the terms, or boilerplate. So you want to choose, when you're printing, choose the template that has the terms that you want to see in that estimate, and then if I pick template 2, And when I print it, that's the terms we just selected. And there's more information in the templates other than just the terms. There's information about the logo that you're using for the for your company, and the logo image, and font sizes and positioning of the various blocks of text and graphics in the estimate, paper sizes, orientation, etc. All that's each template. So you can have templates to control the look and feel of your estimate report that goes to the customers. In fact, you can even rename it as an invoice and send invoices by selecting a different template. Just select the template, just use the arrows here.